Hello, friend. Hello, friend? That's lame. How many Mr. Robot videos on YouTube do you think start like this? And then get all self-aware about it, like what would happen in Mr. Robot? Nothing's original anymore. Everything's just a copy of a copy of a copy. Get it? So Mr. Robot Season 3 was really good, and a lot of people called it a return to form after Season 2 or whatever, which confused me at the time because I hadn't realised Season 2 wasn't as good. And it's only after watching Season 2 a second time in preparation for the new series that I even noticed why anyone was complaining about it. I personally loved Season 2 all the way through, both times, but more and more I would see these articles and videos which talked of it as a misstep, something which reminded me of a show that's critically hailed as one of the best ever made. Yes, Breaking Bad, the show I always talk about. My catalogue of references is very narrow. Both Mr. Robot and Breaking Bad suffer at the hands of the average viewer's attention span because they act more as very long movies than episodic series, by which I mean that each season kind of has its start, middle and climax, and the show overall follows this formula, as opposed to something like Dr. House MD or Doctor Who, which have each episode tell a sort of self-contained 3-act story. Mr. Robot Season 1 was sort of like this, especially with a few certain episodes, like Exploits, which is about Steel Mountain, or Brave Traveller, which is about Vera's plot to get out of prison. Season 2, however, made a drastic change by deviating entirely from this and telling a single long continuous story about Elliot's life in prison. This is something easy to stomach if, like me, you tend to watch at least one episode a day on a streaming service, but not so easy when you have to suffer week-long gaps between episodes. What to me was just a few episodes of slower pacing, which I probably watched within 3 or 4 days, was to others a month of the plot just crawling along. This mirrors Breaking Bad's second season, which I won't go into details about so as not to spoil anything, but other than its ending twist, this season was up to the same standard as the first. Just things kind of slowed down a bit. Actually, weird anecdote, I've watched both shows with my mother. We like to watch shows together, and the first time we watched Breaking Bad, she wanted to stop halfway through Season 2. The same exact thing happened with Mr. Robot. I convinced her to keep watching, and a few episodes later, she was back to enjoying it. But I don't think it's a coincidence that both shows did this. This is natural. In a story, things start off with a bang, then slow down and ease us into the world and the characters, then they ramp up again once the stakes are set. The beginning is about establishing characters and making an easy to follow story. By the middle, the writers are thinking, well, you stuck around for this long, let's ease up a bit and delve into these characters in more detail, give the plot some space to breathe. This works in a single film as this slower period is usually no more than a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, and audiences can deal with that. However, as TV shows increasingly become the more adult medium of which to tell a story, I think a lot of shows hit this problem. You need to slow down, you need to think about the characters and let the audience go for a little, hold back on the flash and the excitement so that when it returns, not only are they excited for it, they have a greater understanding of why it's happening. From what I've seen, Sam Esmail is very proud of Season 2, which is fantastic. As of Season 2, he personally directs every single episode and also writes the majority, which is enough to make him a personal hero of mine. I have no doubt that Season 2 came out exactly as he wanted. There's no Marie shoplifting arc, for example. That was a Breaking Bad joke. The season is about splitting up our protagonists and looking at what they're like when they're left alone. It's incredibly important, just as Breaking Bad's second season is probably the most significant in the characters' stories, much more so than seasons 3 or 4. When you let things settle, you might lose some people, that's just a sad fact, but I do believe this kind of storytelling is crucial to certain narratives. Plus, with all the interesting tricks of editing, cinematography, and the weird hallucinations, I think Season 2 is also very entertaining. People can get annoyed at how the plot isn't speeding on or progressing as they feel it should, but that's sort of the point of this part of the story. Elliot is lost and fighting himself, and everyone else is just trying to pick up the pieces. After 5-9, the world has come to a standstill. The pace of the season, while depressing, only reflects the world of the show, and sadly, for many, the current state of our world. Mr. Robot is trying to say that it's not about escapism. Watching the fabulous Elliot destroy the evil corporations with guns and blood and stuff, it's more grounded in the dark, dirty, sad and slow reality of our world. Much as the framing gives this world more space than its characters, it gives reality more space than escapism or fantasy. By the end of the season, we're sick of escaping, of being in Elliot's fantasy. We just want to know what's real. I really do believe this is intentional, especially as Season 3 is so dark. It fills us in on everything, and it has absolutely no qualms with taking everything that we thought we were excited about for the show and just crushing it. So yes, Season 2 was slower. It was a big change from episodic storytelling to one big arc, but it was a necessary transition to get us ready for what was coming. If the parallels between Season 2 and 3 of Breaking Bad and Mr. Robot are anything to go off, I'm incredibly excited to see where this show goes in the future. If you dislike Season 2, that's fine, but consider how much you enjoyed Season 3, and how much you enjoyed Season 2's moments of reality and plot progression, then wonder if you'd have enjoyed those as much if Season 2 hadn't happened exactly the way it did. I've been Maybe Chrissy. Have a great weekend. Oh, by the way, I have a D&D podcast, check it out. Also, I did some short films. Oh, and my buddy Mipley has a great show you could check out too. It's called Idle Thoughts, and it's about analysing video games and other things. Whoa! Okay, bye.